All right, we're going to do a quick video on powers and exponents. So let's just review a little bit. So let's review what factors are. So factors are the numbers that you multiply together to get an answer here. So if I'm looking at 30, all of these numbers are factors of 30. 5 times 3 times 2 is 30. Okay, so they are factors of 30. If I'm looking at the same number, if I'm multiplying the same number, then we can show that with an exponent. So if we're showing a repeated multiplication of the same number, we can use an exponent. So I would say this as 2 to the fourth power. That's how I would say it, 2 to the fourth power. The 2 is my base. That's the number I'm multiplying. The exponent tells me how many of those bases I'm multiplying. So 2 to the fourth power actually means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So if I were going to find the answer, well, I would multiply it out. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 would be 16. So the answer to that would be 16. This does not mean 2 times 4. Okay, it does not mean 2 times 4. So sometimes it's easier to write it out this way so you get the exact answer. So let's look at the different ways here. So when we work with exponents, we can write them 3 different ways. So we can write them in exponential notation. So exponential notation simply means that I'm going to have an exponent. So that means I would say this 3 to the fourth power. Expanded form is actually like stretching it out. Like, what does it mean? So 3 to the fourth power actually means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay. And then the standard form is actually what is the answer? What's that answer, right? So writing out in expanded form is going to help me. So you could go 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. Okay, that's how you could come up with an answer. You could also kind of break it apart. 3 times 3 is 9, this 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. Okay, so you're going to write it in expanded form to kind of help you figure out the answer. So let's just do a couple together, all right? So if I wanted to write these in expanded form means I'm stretching them out. So 5 to the fourth power, this is my base. This number tells me how many of those bases. So 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. That's expanded form. Okay, this is my base, 6. This is how many of them. So 6 times 6 times 6. Okay, 9 to the fifth, so 9 times 9 times 9 times 9 times 9. Remember, the base is the number you're multiplying. Okay, if I wanted to write it in exponential notation, exponent, it means it's going to have an exponent. So you got to figure out what is my base. So the number I'm multiplying is my 8. That's my base. Then I count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the fifth power. Okay. My base is 6 because that's the number I'm multiplying. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 to the seventh power. This is 4 to the 1, 2, third power. Okay. And then to write in standard form, that's the answer. In order to do that, I really kind of need to write it out. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So that's 9 times 3 is 27 times 3 is 81. I think we already had that one. 4 to the second power means 4 times 4. So that's 16. 2 to the fifth. Oh, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So 2 to the fifth, I'm going to go 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. So I'm going to keep those together. That's 8. And this 2 times 2 is 4. So all together, that would be 32. Okay. You can break these apart as however you want. You could have just kept going. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. Times 2 is 32. Okay. All right. So if you want some review, you can kind of pause the video here and you can kind of look through these if you want to pause it. You pause it and I will go ahead and do it as well. All right, so I went ahead and just did the expanded form. So then if I'm going to find the answer, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So these 3 are 8. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2, these are 8. So 8 times 8 would be 64. 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5, that's 125. Ooh, 9 times 9 is 81 times 9. That would be 729. Okay. All right, last thing really quick is squared numbers. Any number raised to the second power, we use it so much that really these should be things that you should be memorizing. Okay, so you could say this is 11 to the second power, but most often people will call it squared. So anything that you call it squared is raised to the second power. All right, so 1 squared is 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. 5 squared is 5 times 5 is 25. And this would be 6 times 6 is 36. 7 times 7, 49. 8 times 8, 64. 81. 100. 121. 144. 169. 196. And 225. Really, you should be able to know the squared numbers 1 through 12. You should know those, okay? Because we use them so often, all right? All right, so that is a quick video on exponents and powers. All right, if you have any questions, let us know.